Hey folks, over the weekend, the pro-crime victim disarmament mob at Gun Free South Africa, a organization I'm loath to even mention by name, went in the press and said that South Africa is plagued by gun violence. We need more gun control now. We need to disarm law-abiding citizens. We need to take their guns. We need to put the Farm Control Amendment Bill that was very rationally and reasonably shelved and sent back to the drawing board by Portfolio Committee Chair Tina Peterson after a massive public outcry against it. They want that back on the table, which proposes, amongst other things, essentially banning firearms of self-defense in South Africa, which is now, if you correlate the past 4 quarters of our murder statistics, compare that to our population, a total of 61 million people, that puts us at 43.2 homicides per 100,000 people, presently the second most homicidal or murderous nation on earth, a hair's breadth behind Jamaica. We're back at 2003 homicide rate levels. We've had a 30% increase in murder over the past 3 years. We've had numerous experts, including an independent study by the Wits School of Governance, which was commissioned by the Civilian Secretariat for Police, telling us that more gun control has not worked, will not work, is not the answer. And these people want to disarm you. They want you to be a defenseless victim in one of the most murderous and probably soon to become the most murderous nation on earth, where the police are failing, where we've had more reports over the weekend about how captured the police are, how they've lost control over key functions of that organization, how criminals have infiltrated it, how the police live in fear because their own stations are being targeted and robbed of firearms and ammunition, where that kind of is out of control. These people want you disarmed. They think this is a rational, sane policy position to take, because not only has what they've proposed not worked, it's actually made the situation worse. So remember, corrupt police officers sold tens of thousands of firearms, possibly even more to that, to criminals and gangs, and continue to do so to this day. A great number of those firearms were once previously lawfully held safely in civilian hands, but they were seized through various amnesties and where people were coerced to handing them in under all sorts of threats of being arrested or getting criminal records or all sorts of nonsense. Corrupt cops then went and leaked those guns. We still do not know how many firearms go missing out of SAP 13 evidence lockers on an annual basis. The police themselves do not know. We do not know what the status is of their own internal firearm tracking systems, whether or not the police have control over their own armories. That doesn't appear to be the case at all. Yet, GFSA go and say it's completely rational for this organization, which is completely failing at its constitutional mandate and is so criminally infiltrated and corrupt at present, and that continues to sell guns to bad people, that we should get them to confiscate firearms from lawful firearm owners and directly probably sell them to gangs again. Does Gun Free South Africa want people to be murdered? Because that seems to be what they're saying, because they're either not thinking at all or they're completely pro-crime and they don't care. This is an organization, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, that has blood of innocent people on their hands. They are insane, they're criminally negligent, they're irresponsible, and they are guilty indirectly of the murder of thousands of people because they keep pushing bad, terrible, harmful policy ideas, which are sometimes acted upon. It is completely irrational. The fact that this even enjoys press without being interrogated further is what blows my mind, is the fact that people don't understand that the mass shootings we have right now are mafia-style hits for the most part. In fact, it was in the press last week where a senior Hawks official was implicated in one of these massacres. These things are being performed by criminal groups like Zamas, like Taxi Mafiosi, because they're hits for economic gain. They're not just random mass killings by people with licensed firearms, as well as that little myth that licensed gun owners are the largest source supposedly of unlawful weapons. Prove it. Where are the statistics? You can't, because bear in mind that the guns that are reported as stolen, right, from private hands, so to speak, those Section 20 firearms not only belong to security companies, they also belong to security companies that aren't even properly accredited or registered, like the Taxi Mafiosi ones, right? They all own firearms legally, Section 20 that they obtained through corruption, right? Mark Shaw details this greatly in his book, Give Us More Guns. Sorry, I'm getting frothy at the mouth there about this insanity, right? This is all public knowledge. It's well reported on that there are illegitimate security companies with licensed firearms operating. Also, traffic police, metro police, law enforcement officers, that are not SAPs, they are issued Section 20 firearms. So every gun that they lose, including Praza, Transnet, those guys, the guns that they lose, ESCOM, are counted as civilian losses. That grossly overinflates the losses from ordinary people, normal civilian gun owners that have guns in their homes. But that's not reported on. Those statistics aren't broken down. Of course, a lie told enough times becomes the truth, right? And that's exactly what's happening here. This is complete nonsense, and it is absolute idiocy to even think that this is a good idea. And I hope that there is some element of rationality where people can see for themselves that the SAPS is broken. They're the last organization that should ever not just confiscate guns from people, but even administer this act, because the level of corruption is so extensive. That is where the true answer to this lies, the fact that we need a working criminal justice system and working policing. But we've got the opposite. We've got policing that's breaking down to the point where the SAPs may not even exist in anything but name within the next 3 years. But we're still pushing this fantasy of we want a gun-free society. Guess what? People can 3D print them now. The law is irrelevant. Technology has completely surpassed it. And we have Zama-Zamas running around with belt-fed PKM machine guns that they didn't get from here, okay, that came in somehow across our borders. These guys are armed to the bloody teeth, and you're telling me people walking around with handguns for self-defense and the occasional sport shooter with their guns, they're the problem? Get out of here. These people are insane. They should be flushed down the toilet. Fuck them.